Well, we are right in the middle of the season of flu, and if you have little ones at home, parents know they have to be extra attentive to help prevent the flu before it kicks in. Let's welcome Dr. Jeremy Friedman, the Associate Pediatrician at Sick Kids Hospital, with tips on just how to do that. Thank you very much, Doctor, for joining us today. We appreciate it. Are we in the middle of flu season? Has it officially started, or is there ever an official flu season?
Yeah, we're smack in the middle of flu season. Flu season usually runs from late fall to early spring, and it's in full bloom at the moment in Toronto.
For kids, what are the signs to look for? I mean, we know when we're getting the flu, but sometimes kids can't always tell you how they're feeling or what's bugging them. What should you be looking for when you're looking for signs in your kids?
Well, I actually think that's one of the big myths, is that everybody says, oh, you know, I've just had the flu, or I'm getting over the flu. Most of those are actually just common cold, upper respiratory tract infections. If you truly have the flu, you're going to have really high fevers. You're going to be very achy, very sort of tired, lethargic, exhausted, as well as the sort of sore throat, cough and cold symptoms that you usually associate with a sort of much milder cold. But I always say, if you have the flu, you really know that you do, because it puts you out of action for a few days, usually into bed for a few days. It's not just kind of tough through it type of thing.
And with kids, what should you do? I mean, if you have if it's a fever, it's over 103, hospital right away, right?
Yeah, I mean, I think it's not just the height of the fever. With the flu, you're always going to tend to get high fevers. But what I'm looking out for, that I'm worried about in a child with the flu, are things like breathing difficulties. So either breathing rapidly or having more trouble with breathing. A child who's pretty lethargic and not interacting and not really waking up and sort of doing the things that they would normally do, and children who are not drinking. Those are the three things that would make me say that child needs to be seen by a medical professional.
And I know those fairly consistent even when you're looking at babies as well?
Yeah, I think so. You know, the younger you are, the more likely you are to get really sick with the flu, particularly children in the first few years of life. Their immune system hasn't developed yet, so they tend to get really sick. And when you hear about kids being hospitalized, going to the ICU with the flu, it's often kids in the first few years of life.
And a lot of people say, oh, I don't want to get the flu shot, all it does is make me sick, and I still get it anyways. What do you say to them?
Well, I think that's another myth. The flu shot is made up generally of a killed or inactivated virus, so it's not humanly possible to actually get the flu from the flu shot. I think what people sometimes experience is a little bit of achiness, a little bit, even maybe of a little bit of a fever in the 24, 48 hours after the flu shot. But that's just the immune response doing what it's supposed to do, which is building up immunity to the flu. That is not the flu. And the reality is, it's the best weapon that we have. This year, in fact, it's actually very effective. The mid-season flu estimates are that it's about more than 70% effective. So it's really worth getting. And even in the few people who do get the flu shot and then get the flu, it tends to be much, much milder, much easier to handle. So I would recommend that everybody gets the flu shot. You know, in Ontario, it's free, it's easily accessible. You'd be a little crazy not to.
And what are some of the things you can do to help prevent the flu with your kids?
Well, I mean, the flu shot is our #1 weapon, but then I think it's kind of stuff that your grandmother probably told you. So basically, you know, I think when you're coughing or sneezing, the flu virus is spread in droplets. So when you're coughing or sneezing, an infected person spreads it around. So coughing, sneezing into the crook of your elbow instead of into your hands, so you're spreading the virus around. Telling kids to frequently wash their hands, because that's where the virus sits, on their hands. The virus actually lives on surfaces for 24 to 48 hours. So commonly used things like cell phones or TV remotes or door handles, clean them as well.
Okay. Doctor, thank you very much for joining us.
You're very welcome, Roger.
For more info, go to sickkids.ca. We'll have more on BT after the break.